And have a listen to this. Have a listen to this.
Interest rates are higher. I know people don't like that, but you should be welcoming a stronger economy.
And maybe a deal has a point about the machinery of capitalism being oiled with the blood of the
The
workers.
United States is a country that has always paid all of its bills.
Lannister always pays his debts.
Don't let the bastards get you.
Hello and welcome to Comedian versus Economist. My name's Adam and we're joined, as always, by my little older brother and real-life economist, Thomas. Hi, Thomas.
G'day, Adam. How are you?
Good. Very good, actually. Hey, we'd love it if you recommended our little podcast to a friend. It's very simple. Next time somebody says to you, hey, can you recommend a good electrician? You can say no. But if you're after a cracking economics podcast, have I got the podcast for you? So give them CVE. We really appreciate that. As always, we're looking at charts, or in the case this week, we're looking at chart. Not many here, Thomas. You've been slacking off. If you want to follow along, you'll find those on the Facebook and Instagram pages at CVE Podcast, or you can watch them live and in line on YouTube at CVE Podcast on YouTube. But massive show coming up. Thomas, the other week we got told to stop saying please and thank you to AI because it costs too much to compute, proving that manners don't cost nothing. Now, is it possible that money can buy you happiness? We're going to take a look at that. And is it possible that Thomas has been wrong on Bitcoin? Yes. What else has he lied to us about? Is economics even a real job? Thomas, do you want to hear a joke?
Sure.
What sort of farm do you keep robot horses on?
I don't know. What kind
A
of farm do you
solar
keep?
farm. Because you need all the power for the robot horses. Bizarrely, a lot of people are buying robot horses. That's why we're talking about this. There's a new EV in town. Equine vehicles. But first, Thomas, I remember you played with a lot of Barbies as a child. Do you ever think about where they were made?
Yes. Well, yes. China. Good. It's so easy to flow off the way you set me up there.
I know. I should probably give you some heads up on how I'm going to introduce your little breaks. But Barbie doll prices are up. What's going on with Barbie prices?
Yeah. So Mattel, Barbie's manufacturer, had their reported first quarter earnings. There's a few interesting things in it. I just in terms of like the window it gives us into the tariff disruptions. So the first thing is that they withdrew their annual financial forecast.
Can they do that? As a public company, they can just go, we saw what the Fed and the RBA and other central reserve banks did, and when it came to forecasting, and if they can't get it right, we're going to not try either.
Yeah, I don't know if they've got to what the legal implications are. But yeah, saying given the volatile macroeconomic environment and evolving US tariff landscape, it is difficult to predict consumer spending and Mattel's US sales in the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
So yeah,
right. So they just went, sorry, no forecast here.
Yeah, too hard.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, a couple of other interesting, to me, things is saying that they're not coming back to the US, saying that the Trump tariffs, and they don't see that happening. They don't see manufacturing moving back to the US. And in fact, they laid off 100 employees from their headquarters in California.
Right.
Yeah. And
who are presumably not making any Barbies.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't.
Obviously, that's not where they're being made. So what were they doing in the US?
Yeah,
a lot of paperwork, my guess.
But they are going to put up prices, so that's the other thing they are.
I think they called it price action.
Pricing action, yes, that's right.
Pricing action, make it sound a bit more. It turns out these Barbies are action figures, Torres.
Action figures.
Pricing action. Barbie executive and has introduced some pricing action.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's what we expect too. So prices are going up. The other thing I thought was really interesting is that they're saying that they're diversifying their supply chain. They've set themselves a target that in 2 years, no single country will represent more than 25% of Mattel's product line or imports.
Right. That's interesting. That could be tricky. Like if they split it up and like Barbie's made in the US but Ken's made in China, Like, that's going to be some domestic kind of, like, where will their loyalties lie when they're in the Barbie dollhouse, the dream house?
The dream house. Yeah. That's right.
It's going to be
some tense conversations around the Barbie diner set.
Wouldn't want to be a small plastic fly on that wall. Right. Can they do that? Can they split it up? Like, I mean, I guess they can, but
I think so. I mean, it might mean shutting down some factories and establishing new factories in other places.
Yeah.
I mean, and apparently, because Mattel has Barbies, Hot Wheels, American Girl dolls. I don't know what that is, but it's not. Mattel has a. It's not just Barbie.
Of course you don't, Thomas.
Yeah.
Of course you don't.
So they do. Yeah. So they do have facilities in Indonesia, Malaysia, and Thailand, amongst other places.
Right.
But then also those places got hit with tariffs as well. So there's no way for Mattel to duck the tariff pricing action.
Shrinkflation is a thing that. You know, like if chips become too expensive, they just make like chip packets smaller. Barbies, from what I recall, and I've got two girls that play with Barbies, they were pretty tall by average doll standards. Could we not just make shorter Barbies? Would that be an option?
Yeah, I guess so. Sure.
I reckon we should.
But you'd have to adjust the whole product line because otherwise you won't be able to see over the steering wheel of a Barbie Corvette.
You make the Corvette smaller, Thomas.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about adjusting the product line. We're talking about distributing and diversifying manufacturing across 5 different countries. I think everything's on the table. It's fair to say at this point at the Mattel board meeting that shrinking the Barbie from whatever it is, 6 inches down to 5 inches. Because didn't Trump come out and say that kids are going to have to go without dolls this Christmas, or they're going to have to settle for 1 or 2 dolls instead of 10?
It was one of the stranger quotes to come out of Trump's mouth, and there's been a few. Yeah, but he's saying, like, is this going to have an impact on the holidays? And he's saying, well, maybe the children will have to have 2 dolls instead of 30 dolls, you know? And maybe the 2 dolls will cost a couple of bucks more than they would normally.
I think if there's any 6 or 7 year old kids out there that can't get their head around tariffs, you don't deserve dolls. You don't deserve any presents. It's simple economics, kids. We put the tariffs up. Now the dolls are more expensive. Now Santa can't afford dolls. He's got to pay the elves.
And you're going from more. I don't know what world he's living, going from 30 dolls to 2 dolls. And Mattel must be going like, what? The president is calling for an 87% reduction in doll count.
Oh, man. I feel sorry for Ivanka on Christmas days as a kid when she just had to open like 70 presents.
30 of them are Barbies.
Just another Barbie, just throw it on the pile. All right, Thomas, we got a new report here on money and happiness. What's going on?
Yeah, a couple of weeks ago, the UN released their World Happiness Report. And basically they just asked the polling firm Gallup to survey people and to get them to rate their happiness out of 10.
Yeah,
and see where they end up.
So this is a self-rating. So it's not like people aren't assessing people. Someone hovering around outside your house, just watching your face every morning as you leave for work. Yeah, he seems happy.
Yeah, no, self-reported. So that might introduce a bit of bias. But maybe it's hard to compare. But Finland tops the world at a average happiness score of 7.7. Yeah, world average is 5.6
out of 10.
Yeah. But interesting, Australia comes in at number 11. We've got a happiness score of 6.97.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pipped in the top 10 by Mexico by 0.01.
Oh.
We got 6.98. We got 6.97.
They're happy people, the Mexicans. What do we do with this data? What do we learn from it? How do we invest in it? Buy clogs.
I don't think that's not Finland.
No, okay.
But no, there's a lot of Sweden's number 4, so
they wear clogs.
I think stereotypically that's true. Yeah.
Right.
No, the interesting thing. So the Economist magazine picked this up, and then they charted happiness against GDP per capita. And what it looks like is a very tight relationship, much tighter than I was expecting, between GDP per person and happiness. And as GDP per person goes up, your happiness score goes up. And it's a pretty tight relationship.
This is not as your weekly salary goes up. This is you as a productivity unit.
No, this is as a nation.
As a nation.
As the nation's GDP per capita goes up, the average happiness score goes up.
Right.
It's a result that is kind of intuitive, but like it's just how tight that relationship is interesting to me.
Yeah.
Like the idea that money can't buy you happiness is only true after a certain level of income.
Yeah, right.
You know, if you're earning $5 a day, more money does make you more happy. Like if you're earning, $100,000 a day as a Trump envoy to the Middle East,
yeah,
an extra $5,000 a day doesn't shift the dial for you.
Yeah.
But at low levels, it definitely does make a difference.
I did ask ChatGPT, I'm turning to AI more and more these days, if there were any correlations between the top 10 countries. And do you know what ChatGPT came back with?
No.
It said, actually, yes, there is a strong correlation with these countries. They're all listed in the UN's most happiest 10 countries.
Nailed it.
Thanks, GPT. AI has crushed it once again.
That's funny.
No, it did actually list, though. It did list that they're all strong players in like climate and environmental areas, which I thought was interesting. So they're all they got like strong climate commitments, high use of renewable energy, leadership in green innovation, environmentally aware populations, and active climate adaptation strategies. Not universally across all 10, but sort of by and large, there's which maybe that just comes from having more money, though, having more money to spin up a solar farm. Like if you're a poor country, like you're probably just living day by day and bridge by bridge.
I think there's also like a hierarchy of needs effect that as you're richer and happier and more content, you're willing to sort of look outside and fix the planet. You've got that capacity to feel generous.
Yeah, right.
Whereas if you're sad and poor, you kind of really just care about being less sad and less poor.
Well, on that cheery note, why don't we take a break? We'll be back right after this. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin and robot horses. We hope you'll stick around. See you right after this break. Welcome back here on Comedian versus Economist. And Thomas, you give me some show notes every week, and there's a big long spiel normally that I have to feed into AI to summarize. This section here, though, it just says, Thomas admits he was wrong on Bitcoin. And that's it. That was all that was in the whole section. This entire break is Thomas admitting he was wrong on Bitcoin. So let's hear it.
Yeah, no, I was wrong.
That's it. Thank you. All right, moving on.
Now Bitcoin's on a tearaway again. Prices are up, and I'm sort of like I'm notorious for my bearishness on Bitcoin. I never saw a pathway to mass adoption. I never saw the value in it. I stand by a lot of what I said, but I think it is probably on its way to mass adoption. And I was wrong. Like Bitcoin came into my field very early in Bitcoin's story. And the way it was sold to me is like I had a lot of friends who are digital radicals kind of thing. And they're saying that this is going to change the world financial system. We're going to decentralize money. When we decentralize money, we're going to decentralize power. And we're going to put power in the hands of people, and this is going to be the revolution. And that's how it was sold to me. And I just never thought that was true, partly because, one, I just don't think power shifts happen like that. You don't just have a technological innovation driving a revolution in the power structures of society. And two, it was just a technical solution. I think there's a bit of a tendency, and I think there's a little bit of a masculine tendency to look to technical solutions to the world's problems. And I felt like Bitcoin was like, people looking at the world going like, oh yeah, rich people are controlling the planet and they're making life miserable for everyone and they've got too much money. So we just need to technically reinvent money, and that will change things. And I never thought that was true. Society is more complex than that, and you need, all of the soft cultural infrastructure to support systems, and money is just an emergent artifact of our cultural systems. It's not fundamental.
Right.
It's sort of how I saw it. And so, like saying you can change the color of the fruit, but you're not changing the tree. Is how it sort of felt to me.
But now the trees change. We're seeing a tree change.
Yes, we're seeing a tree change. Well, and the other thing is, I thought that like the power systems would resist Bitcoin if it did have the potential to democratize power, as was being promised. Then the power systems would resist it, and the power systems win because you don't. Unless you're going to build new aircraft carriers, you're not changing the power dynamics. What I didn't anticipate was the Trump administration and just the sheer scale and audacity of the grift in Trump and the administration, and the way that has co-opted Bitcoin into an instrument of grift.
I was listening to this podcast. You put me onto it, the Professor Galloway podcast. I started listening to that a little bit. Helps me sleep. But I did hear that he was interviewing someone. They're talking about that it's currently like a kleptocracy that's in the US. Such is the level of it's not corruption. It's just the motivation is not about doing what's best for the people. The primary motivation is to just make yourself and those around you just crazy wealthy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're kind of alluding to, right? It's like saying Bitcoin is now surging because Trump's seen it as a vehicle to make his own self really wealthy and the people around him.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it's, like the way that the regulation of the crypto industry is now being driven by crypto insiders who have a lot at stake. And you have things like strategic Bitcoin reserves as a concept being pushed into governments, and even at the state level, like the idea that Arizona should have a strategic Bitcoin reserve, which is really saying we should get public money raised from taxes and buy Bitcoin with it.
Yeah,
it's pretty outrageous.
It's still better than Trump coin.
Still better than Trump coin. Well, and right. Like the story this week, and it's probably be old news soon, but is like the Qatari government has gifted Donald Trump a $400 million airplane.
Right.
The same week that his son is doing a deal to build a Trump-branded golf course in Qatar.
I heard that on the news. I heard that Trump was meeting with golf leaders, and I was like, "Wow, he's really taking his game seriously." I didn't clock that it was the Gulf region.
Yeah. Right. So like a $400 million airplane as a gift. And he's saying there's nothing wrong with it. You're a loser. You'd be stupid to not accept gifts.
Of course you would. Yeah.
But it's like we had was it in New South Wales, the Premier Don Farrell, was it? I forget the name exactly, before Gladys Berejiklian. But someone gave him a bottle of wine and he failed to declare it.
Yeah.
It was a bottle of Grange, like it was a reasonably expensive bottle of wine.
It's a good drop.
But he failed to declare it and he resigned as a result of that. It came out in ICAC and he went like, that was the wrong thing to do. I got a bottle of wine and I didn't tell anyone about it.
Yeah.
Right? Donald Trump's accepting a $400 million airplane. It's just setting a new bar every week.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think the most important thing here is that you were wrong. I don't want to lose sight of the fact that you were wrong. I don't know, do you want to use this opportunity to apologize to the crypto bros everywhere for raining on their parade?
I'm sorry, bro.
Excellent. All right, Thomas, finally on the show. Haven't we come a long way as a society from riding horses to the horse-drawn car to cars to electric cars, and finally now here we are at electric horses. Yeah. What's going on with horses, robot horses?
Yeah, so Kawasaki, famous manufacturers of motorcycles and pianos, has announced that...
I think that's Yamaha. Yamaha make motorcycles and pianos. I don't think
Kawasaki make violins.
No, that's Yamaha too.
Is it? Right.
Yamaha have a huge range of instruments and audio, hi-fi and things, as well as
so does
vehicles.
Kawasaki, I'm sure.
I don't think they do. No, I think I'm going to be fairly confident saying Kawasaki just make vehicles.
Motorcycle.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe. All right, anyway. Well,
I mean, if you've got a Kawasaki piano at home, you might want to check how legit it is. It could have been done.
I've got one here. Just let me play a chord. Anyway, Kawasaki, Japanese manufacturer of stuff, has announced plans to build an off-road robotic horse.
Yes.
Called the Corleo. Looks much like a horse. Doesn't have a head. Has handlebars instead of a head.
Yeah.
But has four legs like a horse.
It's got a swishy tail. That would be good.
Don't have a
swishy tail.
You do have to use your hands and your legs to control it, much like a horse.
Why?
Well, I think because...
If I get in a car, I don't have to use my... Oh, I do have to use my hands and my legs. But on a motorbike, I guess you do too.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's like a horse.
Like are they going for... Do they want people to have the horse riding experience just without a horse? Or is this more of a transportation advancement?
I don't know. Maybe none of the above.
Maybe let's start with why are we talking about this? I'm sure people listening to the podcast will be interested to know what the economic angle is here.
Yeah, no, just the advance in robotics, but also the weird, I think it's just interesting. We're at a stage now where we're building horses. I think it's kind of interesting, but it's also kind of interesting how much of the drive is to build humanoid robots.
Yeah.
I think they sort of say it's advancing the tech, but a humanoid robot's pretty useless.
Did you see them all jogging there was a marathon, ran a half marathon, I think in China the other day, or maybe in the US, and there was a bunch of Chinese humanoid robots. The top robot completed the race in 2 hours and 40 minutes after 3 battery changes and 1 fall.
It's not a bad time for a half marathon. I don't know, I could do it in half marathon under 3 hours.
No, you couldn't. No, you're not a runner.
No, I'm not.
The top human finished in 1 hour and 2 minutes. So it's twice as over, it's an hour and 38
as
minutes.
The winner, right? Yeah. It's faster than the average human.
It's faster than the guy in the dinosaur costume. Yeah. But a lot of them didn't finish. A lot of them just fell over and freaked out lying on the ground. I think one attacked its handler. Went rogue.
Its eyes went red.
Started yelling about Sarah Connor. Something sent from the future, something.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. Human is a wonderful multi-purpose design, like the arms and legs for doing all of the full range of tasks that a human does.
Yeah.
But a robot net will never have to do. You don't need a robot that is that versatile. You can dedicate a robot to a specific task and design it specifically around that task. So I'm curious why we keep designing humanoid robots, or why we need a robot horse. Especially
because given how difficult it's going to be when you have to explain how many horsepower your robot horse has. How many horsepower has it got? It's got 100 horsepower, but it's just one horse, right? Yeah, it's one horse.
Something about horsepower, one horse has more than 1 horsepower.
Oh, does it?
It's something weird about the measurements, but yeah.
The other thing you sent me the link. It says that Corleo, the horse, is fitted with a GPS navigation system and a projector capable of displaying directions after dark on the ground ahead. Surely this horse knows where to go already, right? If it was a real horse, it would just it would know where it would step in the right places. It doesn't need
I thought it was for your benefit.
Even then, just plug it in and take me away. Take me, horse. Why am I still having to drive this horse? Why is it not a driverless horse? This is, I think, the thing I get stuck on. I'm we've invented this robot horse, and yet someone's still got to drive it and ride it around and kick it and navigate it, whip it. I don't think people riding horses for transport necessarily whip them. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we haven't really improved on the design of horse while we built the robot horse. We just made like a kind of, because you could just bring your own iPhone with a GPS on it if you wanted to, if you're riding an actual horse.
Strap a battery-powered protector to its head.
I think you can get a quad lock that fits, a quad lock mount for your iPhone that fits on a horse if you want to.
Yeah. No, I think it is in the realm of why are we doing it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's battery, that's engine powered too. It's an internal combustion engine. It's not even battery. It's but it runs on hydrogen. So there's no emissions. It's a very confused offering from the from Kawasaki.
Yeah, stick to violins, guys.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Comedian versus Economist. We really do appreciate it. Don't forget, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at CVE Podcast. Until next time on Comedian versus Economist, it's bye for now.
You have been listening to an Equity Mates Media production. In the spirit of reconciliation, Equity Mates Media acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea and community. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples today. This podcast is intended for education and entertainment purposes. Any advice is general advice only and has not taken into account your personal financial circumstances, needs, or objectives. Before acting on general advice, you should consider if it is relevant to your needs and read the relevant product disclosure statement. And if you're unsure, please speak to a financial professional. The hosts of this podcast and their guests may have positions in the companies mentioned. Equity Mates Media operates under an Australian Financial Services Licence 540697.